Today, we're talking about a topic that I know is confusing to a lot of people. I know this because I hear this question from my clients all the time. So, today we are talking about adding fiber to your diet. If you've tried increasing the fiber in your diet to help your regularity move along better, and maybe relieve constipation, and you've ended up feeling worse, more bloated, gassy, or even more constipated, you're not alone. This is a common problem, and there's a reason for it. So today we're breaking it down. We're going to talk about why fiber alone is not the solution, the important role hydration plays in making fiber work, some other important factors that might surprise you as far as why fiber alone doesn't work, and my best tips to add fiber without increasing discomfort. Before we get too far in, if you're not sure where to even start with your gut health journey, I've got a really quick way to help. Go to Instagram and just DM me the words gut check, and I'll send you a short quiz to help you figure out which of my free guides is the best fit for your symptoms and goals. It's a great first step if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure what to focus on. Now, let's get into today's topic. The number one mistake people make when it comes to fiber is definitely adding too much too fast without the right foundation being set first. So here's what happens. You hear that fiber helps with constipation. You start adding chia seeds, fiber bars, maybe even Metamucil or psyllium husk. But instead of feeling lighter and more regular, you're more bloated, crampy, and backed up. And that's because fiber needs movement and moisture to do its job. Imagine pouring sand into a dry funnel. That's what fiber looks like in your gut when you don't drink enough water or when your motility is sluggish. It just sits there. So, what we want instead is that smooth, hydrated sweep through effect. And for that, water and slow increases are key. And another issue, which we're going to dive into more later on, is also how the microbiome affects motility and some other things that affect motility. Hydration is essential, though, to get that nice funnel through effect. So let's talk about the hydration piece because this is not optional, it's essential. I'll work with clients who we're adding fiber, we're building up the fiber in their diet or via a supplement or both. And I ask, how's your hydration? And they say, oh, yeah, it's not good. Yeah, I still need to do better about that. That's not something that we can take weeks and months to work on. That is absolutely essential as setting the foundation. Even I would say before we start increasing the fiber, because again, when we add fiber, think about insoluble fiber like raw veggies, whole grains, wheat bran, but even soluble fiber needs it. That's like what's inside of beans or in apples or pears. Fiber absorbs water in the gut. So without enough fluids, it's actually going to make the stool harder and more difficult to pass. And so it's actually going to back you up more, which is the opposite of what we want. Because hydration is so important and it's such a tripping point for so many people who are trying to improve their motility, start your morning with a full glass of water. Do this before coffee. Make it 16 ounces, not 8. Drinking that in the morning gives you such a great head start on your day. If you need 64 ounces of water in a day, which is the general recommendation, you are already a quarter of the way there before you even have your coffee. So that's number one. The second one is aim for half your body weight in ounces per day, more if you're having a fiber supplement. So what that means is that general 64-ounce recommendation is only appropriate for a 120-pound person or a 130-pound person. So if you weigh more than that, you need more water. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you need 75 ounces of water. You basically divide it in half, your weight in pounds, and that's how many ounces you need. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you need 100 ounces of water. And then electrolytes can help if plain water is not cutting it. So if you feel like you're just peeing out, now you are going to pee more, okay, when you drink more. So that's just normal. But if you feel like you're still not hydrating your stool and you're drinking enough water and it's still not enough, you may need a serving or two of electrolytes per day because that helps move the water into the cells where your body can use it. Remember, also drinks like coffee and sparkling water don't always count the same as plain water. I would say you can count them somewhat, maybe two-thirds, 75%, but they're not going to be as hydrating as plain water. So we do need plain water in there as well. When I say count them 75%, when you're counting up your total ounces. So if you have 8 ounces of coffee, maybe count 6 ounces of that into your total fluid, but you don't get to count all of it because it's not quite as hydrating. Okay, we got hydrated. We got that piece checked off. Now, how can we safely increase our fiber so that it doesn't cause bloating, so it doesn't backfire and make us more constipated? The reason that fiber can make you more constipated is if you're not hydrated or if your microbiome is out of balance, which we'll talk in a second. But how can you increase your fiber without making the bloating worse? Because that's another big problem. Even if you have enough water, adding fiber too quickly, it'd be like going into the gym and trying to lift too much weight. And that's because the smooth muscles of your lining your intestines, they're not ready. Maybe they're not in the habit of moving that bulk of stool through. And also because the bacteria, the microbiome, is not used to that much fiber. So we need to build up the fiber gradually as your system adjusts to it, both from a motility standpoint and from a microbiome standpoint. So start by going slow, increase by just 2 to 3 grams of fiber per day, and hold that for a few days before adding more. And so we're talking about total fiber. So we're not just talking about a fiber supplement. So it can be helpful when you're working on this to use some sort of a food tracker. I use Chronometer with my clients, but there are many out there. There's many of them where you enter in the foods that you eat and it tells you your nutritional breakdown, including grams of fiber. So that's just a little tip. The other thing you could do is read labels, but that's more tedious than just tracking in an app. We have great technology these days that makes this a lot easier for us to do. But either way works. If you're a paper and pen person, read the food labels, do the paper and pen, but remember that whole foods have fiber too. So you'd have to have a way to look up the amount of food and say an apple or a stalk of celery, etc. So that's where the apps can be helpful. Next thing is balance the fiber types. Some people do better with soluble fiber, especially the more sensitive people. So that's like oats, applesauce, cooked carrots, sun fiber, which is one of the fiber types of soluble fiber that I recommend as a supplement for people who are more sensitive. Others might tolerate a mix. So if you're sensitive or have IBS, start with cooked low FODMAP vegetables as gentle options to begin with. I also see chia seeds work really well for a non-bloating kind of gentle fiber to start with, but go low and increase slow with the portions. Don't forget movement, physical movement. Fiber without movement can still back you up. So when we move our bodies, it actually loosens up the muscles around the intestines and loosens up the intestines and helps them move better. It also increases blood flow throughout the body, and more blood flow to the intestines helps motility. So gentle walking, stretching, even pelvic floor exercises can help things move along. And you might need a little bit of extra support. Sometimes your gut just needs more than food. So we talked about getting enough water with your fiber, but we need the water to be in the intestines. And sometimes we need a little bit more help getting the water in the intestines. So a supplement like magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide can be helpful because it's a heavy metal that actually pulls water from the bloodstream into the intestine to soften the stool. So it's a very natural stool softener. For a lot of people that I work with, especially if their gut's still out of balance and we haven't finished up rebalancing it, to just get things moving. A little bit of extra fluid in the intestine is helpful with a little bit of an osmotic kind of laxative, and a natural one is magnesium citrate or oxide. All right. The next thing is I want to talk about my go-to recommendations for constipation. So here's a few of my go-to practical tips that you can implement right away. So we talked about starting your day with 16 ounces of water. You can make this regular water, or you can make it warm lemon water. Maybe you do 8 ounces of regular water and then you sip 8 ounces of warm lemon water or ginger tea. These are both things that will help with gut motility. You can also incorporate kiwi into your day. Kiwi is a natural stool softener and it is low FODMAP, so it's not going to contribute to bloating. And we have research showing us that it's called 2 kiwis a day, they say, are helpful for constipation. So incorporate 1 or 2 kiwis into your day. Take a magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide supplement best at night and start with 400 milligrams and give it a few days. And then as long as that's working for you, you would stick with that dose. Use a full spectrum electrolyte supplement like Ultima, especially if you're active or live in a dry climate, or you're drinking plenty of water and you're still having an issue. Drink the amount of water we talked about earlier, half your body weight in ounces. If you still need a little bit of extra push, I love whole leaf or outer leaf aloe vera juice. This is one of my favorites because not only is it soothing to the intestines, it helps support a healthy mucus barrier in the intestines, which is the lining of our intestines. So it's gut healing, naturally gut healing. It also supports motility. So especially the outer leaf form, the whole leaf form of aloe vera helps move things along, helps everything slide through. Maybe 4 ounces of that per day. And then don't forget about stress. Chronic stress in general contributes to slower motility. And this is something I experienced. My tendency is that I've been a very go-go person. I've had my own business for 12 years now. And so when you have your own business, there's never an end to the things on your to-do list. And I'm wake up and immediately in go mode. And that's so many of us, right? With work and families and just everything that we have to do. And your gut needs calm in order to function. So taking a few moments during the day to slow down your nervous system is how you're going to help mitigate that effect stress has on our slowing motility. So take a few 2 minutes, 1, 2, 3 times throughout the day. Before meals is a great time because it actually gets your body into rest and digest mode as well. But take 2 minutes and do deep, slow breathing to help calm things down. Now, lastly, I want to talk about when fiber isn't enough, because we're talking about fiber today, but we're also talking about why adding fiber may not be your end all be all solution. So if you've done everything that we're talking about, seriously everything, like the hydration, the fiber, the movement, the stress, and you're still having constipation, you're having a more severe issue, that can be because the microbiome is out of balance. We especially see with people like this who have this chronic constipation and bloating that we can have organisms overgrown in the gut called methanogens, and we're calling this nowadays intestinal methanogen overgrowth, which is a subset of SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And an EMO is what we call it. Intestinal methanogen overgrowth is an overgrowth somewhere in the intestines of methanogens, which are microscopic organisms that produce methane gas. Methane gas slows motility. So if you're having a really tough time, you've tried the basic things and you're still having an issue passing stool, we can do some more personalized functional testing and figure out if you do have an issue with your microbiome. And with this, we tend to see bloating that worsens throughout the day, stools that are dry and hard, missing days between stools. So You might be someone who would benefit from working with a practitioner who can guide you through testing and personalized protocols. And this is something my team helps clients with all the time. So, to recap, fiber can be your gut's best friend, but only when you pair it with the right habits. Hydration, slow increases in movement are what really make it work. If you've tried to improve your digestion and just ended up feeling worse, I want you to know it's not your fault, and it doesn't mean that your body is broken and we're not going to be able to fix the problem. It just means your gut may need a little more personalized foundational approach, and that's exactly what we help our clients uncover every single day. So if you're ready for deeper support, you can schedule a free 15-minute call with me at nutritionresolution.com, and we'll also put the link in the notes to see if one-on-one work might be the right next step for you, or if you're not quite ready for that, but you'd love a free resource tailored to what you're struggling with, go to Instagram and DM me the word gut check, and I'll send you my quick symptoms quiz to match you with the best free guide to get started. Thank you so much for joining me today. If this was helpful, please share it, tag a friend, or leave a comment, and I would love to hear from you.